Why don't we start with this, Brett? Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and just, like who are you? What do you do? What did your life look like? Family, all that.
Absolutely. So, Brittany Ulrich, I am 42 years old. I am a board certified specialty pharmacist by background, and I had about 20 years in your typical retail pharmacy experience, and that's I would say probably where like my lifestyle habits really went downhill because it was 12 to 15-hour work days. You didn't get a break, so you were just grabbing snacks off
Yeah.
the
Is that
shelf
is that
and
similar to like working in like CVS or Walgreens or something?
that
Like something
yeah.
like that?
So
Okay.
that would be your typical retail experience. And even in the hospital settings, like you go from retail where you're kind of running back and forth all day, so your body can maintain, you're getting in,
Hmm.
thousands and thousands of steps, and you may just be eating chips and pop for the day. But then if you go into the hospital setting, you may be sitting for more of a portion of that. And that happened with me. I went from retail to an administration position in a hospital and immediately went from running around 15 hours a day to sitting 12 to 15 hours a day, but eating the same way that I had,
Hmm.
which was junk. So I put on quite a bit of weight, 90 plus pounds, probably it was over a long time period.
Wow,
So
90 pounds?
yeah. So, because let's see, I was prior to pharmacy, getting into pharmacy school, I professionally cheered, very active. College hit, that's when, things started slowing down. I cheered all through college and then 2 years outside of college. But then once pharmacy school really ramped up, kind of all that activity
Hmm.
stopped. And I had been slowly gaining weight during that time. Nothing significant, nothing that really bothered me, but it was really probably mid-pharmacy school and then continuing through having two kids. I think my highest I hit was 240, and that was probably about four years ago.
Wow, I can't imagine you at 240. Wow.
Yeah, I can't either. And the thing, I have always seen myself looking the same in the
Hmm.
mirror. I
Hmm.
could have weighed 115 in high school, which was way too low. I think my parents put a lot of pressure on me at a young age that, oh, you've got a lot of baby weight. They used to say it's
Yeah.
baby weight. You need to grow out of it. And so at a young age, my mom, I remember talking about Weight Watchers, talking about diets. Like that was ingrained in my head at such a young age that when I look back at high school photos in my senior year, I'm like, I was probably borderline had an eating disorder and didn't even know it. I still
Hmm.
thought I thought I was big. So I
Yeah.
think this has always been a struggle where I've always seen myself the same. But when I tell you I didn't look in the mirror and see someone that weighed 240. Like I look back at photos now and I knew I needed to lose some weight, but it's like astounding to me now. So about 4 years ago, I did start on a GLP-1. I was
Hmm.
borderline diabetic. I'm a pharmacist. I knew, the benefits, and I really wanted it as a way to just kind of kick off and see if I couldn't start some weight loss. I had started taking up dance as a hobby again and getting active. Did not want to touch weights. It's never been my thing that I like. So did a GLP-1 low was on the low dose for about 2 years. And that's when I lost like the big 80 to 90 pounds. And I
Hmm.
did it probably over a 2 year time span. So significant for two
It's pretty,
year time
that's
span.
pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And when I say like still didn't visually notice, like I didn't. I got to a point where I'm like, I've lost this weight, but I have sagging skin. I don't feel strong. I want to nap like literally all hours of the day if I am not working. Like I'm crawling into my bed exhausted. I'm
Hmm.
having health problems, it seems like monthly. And that is probably right around the time where I learned about you from current client. She had told me how much she actually felt like, oh, I can maintain and I actually will do the workouts. And for me, my biggest piece that I'm always missing is the motivation and accountability to do
Yeah.
it. If I like it, I'll do it. If
Hmm.
it's not something I like weights, I am not going to on my own seek out doing it.
Hmm.
Dance, sure. But then I also need someone to be like, why haven't you done your workouts or have you done them? And
Yeah.
I shouldn't need that, but I feel like I take care of everyone else and everything else within my jobs and roles and managing that I, the last person I am going to hold accountable at the end of the day is sometimes me.
Yeah.
So coming to you and immediately noticing like, oh, this is really something that they've tailored to not only my life, where now I'm in a role where I work nationally and have to travel all over the country. Depending on the month, it could be multiple times, but I can get into a gym at the hotel. If I there's no gym at the hotel, there's body weight exercises I can do.
Hmm.
I can adjust the days to do the workouts on a different day that would work better for me when I get back. And plan wise, I think it's been amazing because I told you when I got into it, like weight loss wasn't and isn't my goal at this
Hmm.
point. If anything, like it scares me to think I could get to the point of looking too thin again and not seeing it myself because I know I won't see it
Yeah.
myself. So knowing I have you and Brian that are checking in, that are seeing photos, that are monitoring progress and making sure that I am getting just stronger is exactly what I needed. And it's worked. I'm shocked. I have never had anything work. I don't know how many personal trainers I've had in the past. I think I worked with a trainer from Lifetime for, I don't know, 7 years it was probably. I
Wow.
mean, he was more like my friend and therapist through
Yeah.
the 3 days a week at the end of it. But it was obvious, like I was doing hard training, but nothing else changed. Like nothing
Mhm.
in my mindset changed. It was just like something I did. And this has been a complete lifestyle change, I think.
I mean, thank you for that response because you answered a lot of the questions I was already gonna ask, which is awesome. Like I was gonna ask like what have you been like what did you struggle with before finding us? And obviously there was a lot of different struggles, like 4 years ago you were at your heaviest, right? And then using the GLP-1 and smart on you, obviously being a pharmacist, going on the lowest dose possible and just like incrementally increasing it probably. That is the way to go, but it's interesting to me that your goal of weight loss was 2 years ago. Like that's when you lost all that weight. So from 2 years up until now, I'm assuming that like, hey, your focus wasn't weight loss, but you also just didn't know exactly what to do, in order for you to get to that next goal, which is interesting. I wanted to ask one thing though, because we touched on a little bit about finding out about ME Fitness,
Mhm.
and because I'll truthfully speaking, Britt, you can go on Instagram right now. You can scroll. You'll see 1,000 different fitness coaches. Like everyone's a fitness coach. Everyone's telling we have the secret formula here. We have the secret formula there. So what stood out to you the most with us? Like what made you decide to go with us? Was it just your friend, Mary, by the way, who I also am about to interview as well? Or was there anything else that kind of stood out to you?
So I've probably signed up for 100 different online fitness coaches and started with them for a week and then been like, this is either AI or I'm just like another, block and you fall off. They never follow up with you. They could
Yeah.
care less if you're part of their program or not. So I do see the things on Instagram all the time for different online coaches and I never click them because I know that doesn't work for me. And
Mhm.
I don't know if scrolling, if I hadn't been told about you, if I would have clicked it. But there was one thing different about you because after Mary told me, I looked you up and you were so real in your videos. It wasn't a scripted message that you were giving. Like I could tell you were saying fundamental truths that I know,
Mhm.
but you also had things like, okay, if you're eating out, do this over this. That's not something that you normally see. You're
Yeah.
usually saying, don't eat out, don't do this, restrict yourself to chia seed yogurt and
And
protein
chicken
powder.
and broccoli 7 times a day. Like
And I'm
that's
not
it.
going to
Yeah.
do that. Like I
Yeah.
just know it doesn't work. I don't even have time to cook with my job. So seeing that, oh my gosh, like okay, you're saying if someone goes to Chick-fil-A, get the nuggets. Like you don't have to do the whole meal and this is I was like I can do that. Like
Mhm.
that's easy for me to throw in taking my kids to soccer. We have to stop there. Fine. All I need to get is nuggets. I don't have to get a full meal with fries and everything else. So seeing that there were even little changes that I could do, I think even before I reached out to you, I'm like, all right, there has to be more to his program if he's willing to just give that information for free to everyone.
Mhm.
And hearing from Mary that she was able to stay consistent with workouts. I mean, I know we had both struggled, with that and wanting to work out, and the drive to is I think what really set it apart.
I appreciate that with the content because I won't lie, like my least favorite thing about this whole process is social media. I cannot stand. So sometimes I'll just put on the phone and just start talking. So I'm glad that it made sense, you
I
know.
think those are the best. Yeah, they're the
You know,
realest.
I've been told. But one thing that you mentioned was that you've tried hundreds of other programs and hundreds of other things. So I want to get more into your decision. Like when you first decided to join, you're like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Yeah, Mary told me, yeah, his videos are great. But at the end of the day, like getting into a program like this and committing for a year is scary, especially because you're thinking to yourself, is this going to be another time where I join a week later, I'm talking to AI and they don't care about me? So what was that moment like for you? Like, were you skeptical? Were you nervous? Like, what was going through your head?
I was I was probably the biggest skeptic. I even remember for the first 2 weeks being like, I'm gonna try this, but there's zero chance
Mhm.
this is going to work for me. Like, oh, these workouts, they're just canned. Like it's not going to work. And I think probably about 2 weeks in, the community was what really sold me. And I noticed that I'm not even really using, like Instagram, Facebook. I'm not even using them anymore. Like that's not a community for me. The MEFit community has become what I'm looking forward to every day, like going in and seeing those wins and seeing, what people are doing and all the different challenges you have going. Honestly, the challenges I think alone make your program because they keep you engaged the full month, and
Yep.
it's always something different. My kids are even invested in, oh, is your bingo card filled out? Which stamp for the passport did you get today? I mean, it's something that I think they have seen as motivating. It's something that I don't think other programs have. I've never experienced something like that in other programs. I've never experienced a community in other programs. There might be a generic chat or something you could be a part of, but it's nothing. It's not an actual community. And
Mhm.
so I think when I started seeing that, I wasn't looking for scale numbers, so that wasn't something I was watching. My goal has been to maintain. So if I had started going up, I would have panicked and thought things
Mhm.
weren't working. But just noticing I was able to eat correctly and not even it didn't phase me. I wasn't struggling to keep up with the schedule that you guys had planned for my workouts. I knew within 2 weeks, okay, this program is legit. I
It's
this
legit.
is this is different. But I was a huge skeptic.
Yeah.
I remember, and I'm like, well, I'm signed on for a year. Like I've got a year, but I guess if I fall off, I fall off. I guess I made that investment.
Yeah.
But I
No, I
remember,
mean, I don't even blame you, Britt, for
I know,
being a skeptic. Like, think about it this way: you tried 1,000 different things. There's a lot, and me personally, like, I see what's out there too. And I'm not saying that I'm putting my program on a pedestal, but there are some things out there that I'm just like, So I would be skeptical in your shoes, So you're justified in that. I wanted to ask you about the first month. Like
Mhm.
the first 30 days, like of course the first 2 weeks you talked about a little bit, but I want to hear about the whole month in total. Like what was that actually like? What did you notice first? Like was it, I know that you said the community, but did you notice anything about the diet or the training, how easy it was to follow, or maybe it wasn't easy to follow? Like I
Mhm.
want to hear more about that too.
So I think the diet we got to go back and forth on quite a bit because I'm like, I don't want to lose weight, and I'm to like a macro point where with how often I'm traveling, like we are just going to fail
Hmm.
Meal prep. And I think once we got that figured out, things just started clicking. I traveled a lot during
Hmm.
that first month,
Oh yeah.
and having the guardrails in place of okay, and your guide for when you're traveling and eating fast food, having that I think was instrumental because I literally could pre-look up menus going into restaurants. If I didn't know what I was going to eat, I had already made the choice that, okay, I'm sticking to protein. And, if they have a salad or the vegetable, I'm going to stay away from the bread basket. Like I
Hmm.
was able to it felt like travel with ease, go to conferences with ease because I already knew what I was going to do. So within the first month, having all of that behind me at the end like felt like a huge win. And the workouts, because they were so adaptable, I was able to send you guys a message and say, "Hey, I'm going to be at a hotel 3 days this week. I think it has a nice gym." And having you guys change if it was dumbbell based or, maybe not all the gym equipment, it was
Yeah.
just so easy to not have an excuse to give
Hmm.
myself for why I couldn't work out, why I was gone.
Hmm.
So by the end of that first month, one, I noticed I had been less sick. I was spending a lot less time in bed napping, and I could tell I had more energy. And I think I questioned whether or not that was just like a one-off, but now I'm what, five-ish months into the program, like that continues. The energy is so much better. I don't know if there's been more than like one time where I've taken a nap since I've started the program, and that was probably because it was a day I wasn't feeling good. But for
Hmm.
that, that's amazing for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I love the difference, and it's been awesome to see you grow and change in the last 5 months. It's been 5 months. Time flies when you're having fun, you know? I had another thing. You remember that video that I posted of you, Britt? Remember where I'm saying like I'm such a horrible coach. She only lost like six
Yeah.
pounds. Like, please don't follow anything I said. She only lost 6 pounds. Yeah, she dropped 8% body fat, you know? But there's such a difference,
Mhm.
physically and of course mentally too, between you now and you when you started or when, even before you started. So talk to me a little bit more about that. Like, what differences have you seen, the person I am today or the version you are today, versus the version you were before we started?
So this is the first time I think that I have been able to look in the mirror and say, all right, yeah, there is something that like there is muscle definition
That's awesome.
in places that I haven't seen since, I was 20. And I can accurately identify that. And I don't know if that's because you guys do the 2 week check-ins and you submit photos and, you know, being able to see, okay, this is day one to this is now, you can see it. I
Yep.
mean, you can actually see the progress that is being made. And I can see more definitions. Arms was the first thing I noticed, and it wasn't me noticing it. I had other people commenting, and at first I thought I was like, whatever. They know I'm working out. They're just telling me to cheerlead me, and
Mhm.
I don't necessarily need that. But I had random people coming up to me that I'd never talked to
Like
in
at
my
like
life.
at your work, like at your work event. I
At
remember.
dance, I
Yeah.
had people coming up to me. At the gym, I had people coming up to me. I had someone come up to me and was like, "You're so swole." I'm like, I don't even know what that means. My 9-year-old thinks it's hilarious because my arms are getting commented on all the time. And
Yep.
that wasn't even a goal, but now I'm like, maybe it should have been because they look a lot better. So there's been visible changes, and I think even within the first month, looking back at photos, you could start to see, that was developing. And then I think around the third month is when it was like, okay,
Yep.
there's been muscle development.
This is happening. This is
And
actually happening.
I don't feel like I've worked that hard for it. And I think that's one of the craziest things for me is not feeling like I've had to overexert
Yeah,
myself to
but
see results.
But don't you think that's the reason we're seeing
Yeah,
progress? No,
because I would
because
have
it's
given
like
up.
Yeah, yeah, because like I feel like a lot of us, including myself the longest time, we've convinced ourselves that we have to be like 100% effort, like, like push it to the limit kind of thing. And then that doesn't last. So if you don't do that, you feel like you're failing. You've heard me say this all the time because I say it all the time. Like 80% for 6 months for a year is going to get you further than 100% for a week or two, and then you fall off and then you have to restart again?
Mhm.
So I think that's the secret behind your success. It's the fact that you haven't had to like go extreme 100% and you're seeing the results that you've been yearning for? So my last two questions. Number one, and this is I want you to be super direct and honest, Britt. Like coaching is not cheap. Like these types of programs are more of a luxury service 100%. It's not a gym membership like a $50 Planet Fitness membership. So I want to ask you honestly, do you feel like the investment you made into the program was worth it? Why or why not?
100%. And I know it is a large investment. When you chop it down to monthly and you really think about it, you have, and this may just be the pharmacist in me, but you have millions of people right now that are paying $300 to $400 a month for a GLP-1.
Hmm.
And I know they're paying $300 to $400 a month. You could get a MEFit membership for less than that and change your body, gain the muscle, and get the results that you want. If I had known about this years ago, I would have done this because I wouldn't have then been in a spot. Yes, I lost the weight, but I didn't have any of that other benefit. I didn't gain muscle. I lost muscle in the process. I had saggy skin. I had no nutritional control at all. I got to such a point that I barely was eating at all when I first started with you. And
Yeah.
uh, half of the battle you and Brian had was just getting my body retrained to even feel hunger and
Yeah. I
eat a
remember we
little.
had to work on the appetite a little bit in the beginning. Yeah.
So I feel like it's a give and take. It looks like an expense up front, but if you really look at the habits and what you're spending money on right now, and I guarantee you probably 75% of the population that's viewing your Instagrams and your media is either thinking about a GLP-1 or on one. And if they
Mhm.
are, they are very well paying a couple hundred of dollars for it a month if their insurance isn't covering it. And that
Mhm.
money could be used for this, which is more of a sustainable future and may prevent them from needing to be on something like that lifelong.
I love that answer 100%. It's like at the end of the day, you are going to have to invest money somewhere. You might as well do it in something that's going to guarantee you results and keep it off for a lifetime? How has working with Brian been, by the way?
Brian has been awesome. I feel like he might be psychic sometimes because I'll get messages and it's like right when I am like, oh, I really don't feel like walking to dance class today. And he'll be like, let me know how dance is. I'm like, what is happening? Like, how does he even know
He has eyes
I'm
everywhere. He has
thinking
eyes
about
everywhere.
not going? So it's been awesome. He knows when I'm on vacation. He knows when I'm traveling. I'll get follow-up notes like just wanted to check in to see how training and your food has been going this week. Do you have any questions or struggles? He's been phenomenal. You both are. I know you're both accessible. You're both there when I am having struggles. I can reach out. I can reach out when, I'm feeling discouraged or, like, hey, it's just not going well this week. And you guys always are there to respond and provide positive feedback, but also, realistic encouragement. And, I've seen it in the notes you've put in the community before. Like you'll call us out if we need to be called out as a group, if we're collectively not doing what we paid to do, which is improve our
Yep.
fitness. And I like that. That's not typical. You don't typically have trainers that are getting paid call you out if you're not utilizing them to their
Yep.
fullest.
Yeah. I really appreciate that last sentiment too, because at the end of the day, like Britt, we're invested into you too. Like that's the point. And when we see someone not like reaching their potential in the program, it keeps us up at night. You know what I mean? Like me and Brian don't sleep sometimes. We're just like, man, like how do we get through to some of these people? But last question, because I know we're coming on time. And again, a very direct question. If someone came up to you right now and they were kind of just on the fence about joining the program, whether, it's something about committing or, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show up. I feel like I'm going to fail this program. Just like obviously like some of the thoughts that you had in the beginning too. What would you tell them now being like 5 months into the program?
I would tell them that they just need to do it. I would tell them that give it 2 weeks and you're going to think differently. And if it was a financial thing, like I would say that they need to talk to you before they just throw out the idea that they can't do it or that they think they're going to make the investment and then they're going to quit on themselves. And I think that's a lot of probably the concerns is, oh, I'm gonna pay up front and then I'm gonna find out 2 weeks in that this isn't for me.
Yep.
I I would say that I'd 100% guarantee that that's not going to happen to them if I had to put money on it, but that you guys also work with people on a daily basis, and I guarantee even if it's little tidbits that you give them and work with them a week before, that they're going to know this is something that is sustainable.
That was the greatest interview we've had so far. I'm not even just saying that. Like, thank you for like giving us just honest feedback. That's what it's all about, you know? So, Britt, thank you so much for taking the time for this.